All right. Hello, everyone. It's been a long time since I've been able to record, maybe even a year. Been in and out of the hospitals, as I was saying before. Um, but today, I have my lovely mommy here for support and to maybe say a few things. Um, so basically, the last video I talked about how I was diagnosed with esophageal dysmotility and how they couldn't really figure out how to help me with it. Um, for a while, they just told me it was part of me having Sjogren's and that I would just have to cope with it. So since June of last year, I was in and out of the ERs and hospitals uh, due to severe chest pain here, upper abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting, and severe weakness. So as the year went by, months go by, days, weeks, whatnot, my visits got more and more frequent. I got weaker. I wasn't able to eat as much, not even drink water. So I was, like I said, in and out of the hospital several times. Multiple specialists, no one could figure out what was wrong. And we fast forward to this year. I'm in and out of the hospitals and ERs even more so. At that point, before I finally got a diagnosis, up to 4 times a week I could be in the ER, unable to keep down medicines or anything. So basically, it got to the point where my pain medicine wasn't working, nausea medicine wasn't working, none of it. And out of frustration from going back to the same hospital, same ERs with no answers, we decided to finally try to go to a different place, a different ER, a different hospital. And that's when we went to River Oaks Hospital and Clinics, where a tremendous doctor named Dr. Atrium, I contribute me finally getting a diagnosis and getting things moving to him. Because if it weren't for him, I don't think I would have a diagnosis now. So basically, what happened then was Dr. Atrium had me admitted at River Oaks Hospital. I stayed there for 5 days, and I wasn't even home 24 hours before I was back in the ER with my heart rate being in the low 40s. I was extremely weak. I got real sweaty. I could barely talk. Clammy skin, pale, and my mom rushed me back to the ER, and of course it showed that my heart rate was still too low. So I got transferred to St. Luke's, where I had to be in the ICU overnight. And while I was there, my heart rate dropped to, I know, at least 38, maybe even lower. My blood pressure had gone to 81/42. And I was so weak I couldn't even take a couple steps over to the right or even really sit up. And for some reason, this time it stuck with me when the ICU nurse said, "We'll find out what's wrong with you. We're going to find out." And I remember thinking that, and part of me was like, they always say this and they don't find anything. But then another part of me was like, you know what? I feel like he might be right this time. And lo and behold, he was. So at that point, since my heart rate was so low, the cardiologist was talking about me having to get what's the test? Where it threads through your artery to check your heart. The electrophysiology. You know what I'm talking about? I don't remember the name. Yeah, we don't remember the name. They were talking about having to do that. They were also talking about giving me having to put in a pacemaker because my heart rate was so bad at that point. So after having millions of tubes of blood drawn, we finally had a problem and a solution. So after over a year of suffering, not knowing what was wrong with me, getting worse, going crying in my parents' arms, crying at doctors, crying at night, frustrated, I finally find out that all of it was due to adrenal insufficiency, or also known as Addison's disease. which is not a very common disease at all. In fact, I had never really heard of it before I was diagnosed. And so after they had talked about the pacemaker, a few hours later, the hospitalist comes and he's like, has anyone ever told you that you have really low cortisol? I said, no. And he told me, he's like, your cortisol is so low, it's almost undetectable in your blood. And so to hear that, I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, you barely have any left in you. So that's why I was so weak. Little did I know that all this time, the nausea and the vomiting, the severe abdominal pain was the Addison's disease manifesting itself. It just so happened to manifest in that way for me. So I often use this quote from Halsey. Everybody, well, most people know who Halsey is, the singer. She also suffers with some of the illnesses that I suffer with. It was a quote that she used when she got diagnosed with endometriosis that basically is along the lines of, it was a bittersweet moment because I knew I wasn't crazy. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I have a diagnosis, but also, oh great, I have another diagnosis. So the treatment for that is having to be on a steroid for the rest of my life. I'm now also required to wear a medical alert bracelet at all times. And I should have brought my case with me. I didn't think about it. I'm supposed to also carry an emergency cortisone shot with me at all times because little did I know, when I was going into those weak stages where I could barely talk, that's when I was going through what's called an adrenal crisis. And they informed me that each time that happened, I could have died. I could have gone into a coma. Anything could have happened. Could have been really, really bad. And they basically told me this, my health state once I was in the ICU was at a pretty bad point. Very, very bad point. If I didn't get diagnosed then, I don't know how much longer I would have been here, honestly, which is really crazy to think about. But with adrenal crisis, what was happening to me, basically I described to my mom, I felt like I was dying, and now I know I basically was. So basically with adrenal crisis, the symptoms are, like I said before, nausea, vomiting, severe abdominal pain, severe weakness, sweating all over. Like, it literally would look like somebody would just throw a bucket of water on me. What else? Heart rate would go up, blood pressure fluctuates.
Jittery.
Yeah, jittery. I get to the point I'm so weak I can't even really keep my eyes open. I can't hold my head up. I can't talk. Yeah. It was to the point where she saw the adrenal crisis for the first time. And I couldn't even handle 1.5 steps to the walker. She had to push me on the walker to the car. She had to help me get in the seat. Once we got to the hospital, they rushed me to the back. So to know now what that was and is pretty terrifying. So I'm gonna do a little bit of information about Addison's adrenal insufficiency, and then I'll see if she wants to kind of say anything. So basically, it's, like I said, it's rare. There's primary adrenal insufficiency and secondary adrenal insufficiency. The endocrinologists think that I have secondary, but they aren't totally sure, because as I've always been told, if you have one autoimmune illness, it makes you prone to more. So we haven't totally figured out why I have adrenal insufficiency. But that is basically where I'm at now. So from now on, if I get sick or if I have surgery or any type of physical or emotional stress of any sort, I'm required to double or triple my steroid dose for a few days to avoid me going into crisis. basically I have to be extra careful now, because knowing just how much in danger I was, and I really wasn't aware of it, is pretty crazy to me. But I would like to say to my mom, I am so grateful for you. As you already know, I tell you a million times, because without my family, I feel like I definitely would have given up, because I was mistreated by so many doctors, ignored, basically being treated like I was lying, all of that. And I finally got a pain management doctor who believed me and wants to help me feel as good as possible, well, as least pain as possible. And like I said, I want to thank Dr. Atrium so much from River Oaks Hospital and Clinics, because I really feel like I wouldn't have a diagnosis if it wasn't for him, because he really got the ball rolling with a lot of things. So if somehow, some way he sees this, or even anyone from that hospital, thank you all so much. I'm forever grateful. And I'm also grateful to the endocrinologist at St. Luke's as well, who helped figure out what was wrong with me. So yeah, that's basically it. Do you have anything you want to say?
I would just like to say, as a parent and a supporter, that one thing about it, when Courtney was first diagnosed and they were saying fibromyalgia, then they went to Sjogren's, well, whatever the autoimmune diseases are. One thing that always stuck with me is the first thing I read was, no matter how much rest you get, you're still going to be tired when they get up. And I've never forgotten, and I just imagine, as much as I do from day to day, and I'm tired, I can only imagine how she feels when she wakes up in the morning and still has to push through what she's going through. I just thank God that a diagnosis has finally been made, because, you know, taking her, I think the worst part was during the pandemic when you couldn't stay. So you're dropping your child off, you don't know what's wrong with them, and to be honest, I didn't know whether she was going to come out alive or not. So that was very tough on all of us during the pandemic. So if it was tough on us, can you imagine how she felt going in and not knowing what was going on for such a long time? But like she said, with the River Oaks Hospital, I mean, my hat goes off to them. They're such a loving and patient. There's such a loving and patient staff. You don't run across that too much, but I do want to add that Courtney says this a lot. Listen to your body, and make sure that if you feel like you need to go to a hospital or get checked out, do it. Don't procrastinate, because you don't know what you could be allowing to damage your body more. And the other part is just going through all the things. I call her my Shiro all the time, because I just feel like I wouldn't be able to handle what she's gone through. But regardless of, to her and to you all that are listening, regardless of what you go through, find you a support group, whether it's family, friends, or whoever. And if you don't have it, pray to God that He sends you the right person, because even though we fall or we bend, we're not broken. Just find people that can support you through what you're going through, because whether it's sickness or anything else, we all need support sometime or another. And we all have felt like giving up. I cannot count how many times she's given up. And honestly, I didn't blame her in the situations, because I think, not unless she changes the percentage, I'm thinking 95 to 96% of the time we go to the doctors, it's never good news. Am I right? 95,
most
96%.
Of the time.
It's never, okay, take this and it's gonna fix it. It's always, we gotta run more tests. You keep hearing, you gotta run a test after this test. And then you start hearing, oh, this is rare. A lot of people don't have this, which makes it worse, because there's not a lot of research that has been done with a lot of the different situations that people have gone through. So I'll be quiet until the next time, but I just wanted to support her, let her know I love her, and of course our family loves her, church family, and friends.
Oh, and how did I forget? My shirt from Amazon. As you can see, purple and blue ribbon, Hope is actually my second middle name. But I got this shirt because since it's September, it is Rheumatic Awareness Disease Month. I don't know how I forgot to say that. So yeah, wear purple and blue in support of people like me that suffer through these illnesses as well. When I read a statistic, I saw that it's over 100 rheumatic diseases that exist. So keep that in mind. I would like to, again, thank my mommy for love you, for being amazing as always, and for always supporting me. And thank you to everyone for watching. Next video is extremely important, also is long overdue, where I will talk about how important it is to advocate for yourself and read your medical records. Like I said, I will talk about that next time. So thank you all. Bye.